So, the tips that I'm going to share with you today are easy ways to add color that don't necessarily mean painting every room. As a designer, I don't go and paint every room a different color in the home. I want the space to be livable for my clients and I want it to have longevity. And most importantly, I want it to have intention. And this is the most important part. So, when we are choosing color in a home, we really map out the space first and we think about how do we want each space to feel? That is the critical first step that you want to take when adding color into a room. What is the feeling of this space? Because color has energy and color has emotion, it has mood. And it is really going to dictate what the overall feeling is of your space. So it's so important that you really nail that part of it first. So once we've determined what each room is wanting to feel like, then we start to look at where are the spaces where we want to infuse a lot of color, and then where are the spaces where we want to kind of pull back. We want injection of color, but we don't want it to feel overwhelming. An important part to consider is when you're starting, what is the layout of your home? If you have a space that is mostly open concept, we can't start painting walls different colors because those colors are going to meet somewhere. And this is where the space really falls off and the design dies. Because the worst thing you can do is have an outside corner that's got a color on one side and a different color on another side. That is not going to give you a luxury elevated feel. So we need to look at where do we have contained rooms that have proper archways. Doesn't have to have a door, but at least an archway where we have a nice transition to take us from one color to another color. What I like to do and what I find most of my clients gravitate to is we choose a neutral for the majority of the walls in a home, especially if it's open concept. It doesn't have to be white, but I would say, typically speaking, most people feel better in a slightly lighter, fresher space. So it could be a white, an off white, it could have a little bit of a gray or a taupe tone. Something neutral and soft and light that then these other colors that we're injecting are really going to stand out on. And then we want to look at how can we infuse color in different ways without painting the walls. So we obviously have wallpaper is a beautiful option. It could be some type of wall paneling detail. And we then can get into the decor of the room. Artwork is an amazing way to add an injection of color that doesn't involve a huge commitment of color on the wall. We look at things like area rugs. Perfect way to really set the tone of a space, add color and contrast and pattern and set the tone. Again, we don't have to paint the walls to achieve that look. So, what I would do is go through again, we've figured out what we want each room to be, and then look at where are the spaces where we feel like we could be a little bit more daring. My recommendation to my clients is number one, with the foyer space, is a great area to add some color, add some personality, because this is your home. This is how you are welcoming people in the front door. So you want to set that tone of your style and the look and how people are going to experience your home as they enter the front door. So have some fun here. If you can do some wallpaper or some type of detail in the space with color, it's the perfect opportunity. Again, because it's a transition space. So we're not spending a lot of time in our foyer. And so we can afford to be a little bit more bold in this space. The other space that I love to be a little bit more bold is a powder room. People are not spending a lot of time there, but your guests are probably going to use the powder room. So, again, another opportunity to infuse some of your personality and your style, have a little bit of fun, and be brave and bold with color. So now you've got two areas where you've infused color and they're not big commitment spaces in your home. And you have set the tone of the look and the feel with those two spaces. And now you can pull from those and start to decorate other rooms using other forms of color. Another great one is to wallpaper a ceiling. I love to wallpaper a dining room ceiling because you really want to create a mood in that space. Again, not a lot of commitment to color because it's on the ceiling. So it's not at our eye level. So we're not experiencing the color or the pattern the same way we would if it were on the walls. So again, it's an amazing opportunity to be a little bold and create something that is very special and unique to you. And then we use that, like I said, to jump off into other areas. So start using color to ground your rooms through an area rug, through throw cushions, and through artwork. These are amazing ways to infuse color that doesn't have to feel overwhelming or too bold. It's very livable. And then you can build on that as you get more comfortable with color, and you'll be surprised how much joy it brings to you and how it really changes the energy of the room. So be bold, take some risks, and enjoy the joy of color.